off camera, we were talking about a little bit about your career. You said you've worked with Bruno Mars, Meg Thee Stallion, and other artists. How did you get into that space? Because if you've worked with people like Bruno Mars, people would say, wow, you've had a pretty successful career. So what was that secret, if you can say,
or even a catalyst
that got you into that world?
Right, absolutely. The secret, that's a great way to think about it. I think for sure I never gave up. Like that's like and as you'll hear more of my story, you could easily look at times where it would have been like, oh, you could have given up there, you could have given up there, or pivoted here or pivoted there, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's you got to have some talent and be real with yourself, and if you're not good, you gotta be able to tell yourself like you're not good at it, you know. But like if you have some talent and you're willing to just never give up, like this is really, that's like the secret, you know what I mean? And it could take a long time, it could take a short time. That's not really like completely in your hands in an industry where the product you're giving everyone it's subjective, right? So you know, people have to like it. It's not just like, so yeah, I'd say never giving up. And also, you know, it does take a certain amount of getting some feedback from others. The first real moment for me when I decided this was going to be something I was going to really, really pursue was it was something as simple as a producer showcase where I went and showed some of my beats at the time to some industry judges, right? And I got really good feedback. And I got some constructive criticism, right? So I knew what to do to try to get better. But I also got that little nudge of confidence to say, you know, this is something you could do. So
what's the creative process for you specifically? Because everybody thinks that they're the best in sliced bread, and then they come down to reality a bit when people give them that constructive feedback. But what does the creative process look like? Because you mentioned earlier that it's what people like. Because what I might like or what you might like as a producer, not everybody's going to like, right? So how do you fill that gap where people are like, yeah, that's a dope beat, or that's a really cool mix that I got to, be a part of or showcase, as you mentioned?
Yeah, right. Well, there's two sides of it, because eventually, if you're working in the industry, you're sometimes just having to please a client, right? You have to deliver for them, and so I can't say I've loved everything that I've created and has been released. I wouldn't say that, but I was happy to satisfy the client. You know, on the other side of that is if you were going into the creative process with no expectations, like I don't go in with much direction. You know what I mean? I don't like to think too far ahead. Oh, I'm going to go into the studio and do this today. I'm going to do that today. I just like to really, really rely on just how something feels, right? Because that initially, like before, when we turn on music, we don't hear, like, it's not lyric, it's a combination of everything that like creates an emotion, right? So sometimes the song opens with just drums or just a keyboard part, right? You have to be able to be pulled in right away. And so definitely I'm always like looking for like some type of really unique sound to build off of, or just something that like something, I'm pulling from things that I've heard in the past, and we're all borrowing from each other. And I'm pulling from things that have evoked emotion out of me, whether I'm in my car. Most of that comes from when I'm in my car, you know what I mean? Driving. If I hear something that brings emotion out of me, I try to figure out what it was that did that, and I try to recreate that.
If you enjoyed this video, you can check out another one right here, and check out the entire podcast right here.